Lima had not a diabolical question. He asked me a legitimate question. We were arguing about the whole. It went to a wild place earlier today, where it was Albert Breer was on afternoon drive yesterday. He goes, well, if they had their druthers, probably if they saw both in practice, the Browns would probably put Deshaun Watson on the field before Shedeur Sanders. People were in an uproar. I don't think that was Albert's opinion. I think that he's just sharing the opinion of people he talks to in the building. And then Lima had a question to ask me, and it turned into a big Shedeur thing, Shedeur, Dillon Gabriel. And I go, guys, it's not a Shedeur or Dillon Gabriel argument. I know some people have made an argument, well, you guys are being too hard on Dillon Gabriel. We'll talk about that coming up here in a little bit. I don't think it's about an argument of Dillon or Shedeur. It's an argument, because I don't think anybody's making an argument for Dillon Gabriel. Not seriously. It's an argument about the Browns and whether or not you trust them, that they're comfortable with Shedeur Sanders. And the answer is no. However, Lima asked me this question right before the break 40 minutes ago. Nobody wants to see Bailey Zappi. Nobody wants to see Deshaun Watson for a multitude of different reasons, because they're not mad at Bailey Zappi. They're just bored by him.
Honestly think they're worried about? There has to be a reason. What is the reason? Is it that they think if they trot a guy that they don't think is remotely ready to play football, it is going to ruin his career? Is that why they're not playing Shedeur? Is that a legitimate concern? And what signal does that send to the Shedeur fans? That they think your guy is such a project that they're worried about his future in this situation. Does any of that make you pause and say, ooh, they might be right. They might ruin our guy?
I don't know if they are worried about his future. I think they're worried about, can they get anything out of him right now? Can he play well enough right now? I think that we are worried about his future if he goes out there and he plays poorly. Again, he was a fifth-round pick. There is clearly a huge chasm between what the fans feel, what the media feels, and and I think fans and media are almost lockstep in so many ways. The fans and media and what the NFL thinks of what he can do. There is a giant Pacific Ocean between the two. And if you put that there between the two beliefs, I don't know if there's a fear of his future. I just don't think that they believe that he can help them out right now, and that he's able to get out there in the field. It's not I would like to see him out there. But it's not a Dillon Gabriel or Shedeur thing. I don't think it's a Shedeur versus any player thing. I just think it's their belief to it. And if they're afraid of anything, it might be that, they're going to take a shellacking on media, because nobody wants to admit that they're wrong at first. If he goes out there and he's terrible, well, the Browns have messed him up because it's the Browns. I mean, it's the perfect people to blame. The perfect people to blame. But if you're the Browns, I've stood there and I've said, I don't think that they're doing anything to sabotage him on purpose. Now, if you think that the Browns are just bad at talent evaluation and they're putting him in the wrong spot, fine. I'm probably with you in so many ways. But when it comes to sabotaging, this is a grand conspiracy against Shedeur, I don't believe that at all.
Kenny, the reason I don't think it could be
that conversation.
Yeah, listen, there are 53 on a roster, but how many are there every day? How many players are there every day at Browns practice? If you add up scout team, if you add up everybody, okay?
65, so 70
guys.
Something like that.
Then, how many coaches are on the coaching staff?
Whole bunch.
And how many guys?
Over a dozen.
How many guys are in the front office? You would think if there was any question about where Dillon Gabriel is in relation to Shedeur Sanders, do you think the Browns, while this is quickly getting away from them, to where people are wondering who, now that DePodesta is gone, if there's going to be a power struggle, if guys are going to start heading for the hills, right? If all that was going on behind the scenes in an irrelevant season in which they're not going to win games, how in the world are we not hearing from people that Shedeur is really good and the Browns are botching this?
I don't know.
Wouldn't we be hearing that from somebody?
I think you would.
Defense, too.
Well, wait a minute. What about Mary Kay? Doesn't Mary Kay say he's good every time he comes on? Or every time she comes on?
Yeah, but she also says Deshaun Watson is making big strides and is going to be ready.
Are they both making big strides?
I am not hearing that the Browns are making some egregious mistake by playing the guy that has some of the worst numbers in the NFL and has some of the laugh-out-loud, hilarious low-light moments that we've seen at the early stages of a football career. I am not hearing that they're playing the wrong guy. Haven't heard it. Haven't seen it. Haven't seen it leaked. Haven't heard anybody on a podcast. These guys all have a way to get their message out. If it was so obvious, Albert Breer and Zach Jackson always say the same thing. Hold on, listen to me for a second. Stop looking for a cut sheet and listen to me. I have not heard, wouldn't you think, that the guys that say you can't lie to a locker room, you cannot trot out the wrong guy because a locker room will revolt. Where's the revolt? Where is it? Guys are still playing hard last week. Guys are almost playing too hard where they're jumping off sides at the end of a game. Where is it? Where's the give up that, oh my God, there's going to be a mutiny in the locker room, in the building because they're playing the wrong guy? Because it doesn't seem like anybody thinks they're playing the wrong guy. It just doesn't seem that way. And the guy we're seeing is horrible. The guy we're seeing is getting humiliated day in and day out on social media. Almost to a cruel level.
I got Mary Kay. She says nice things about Shedeur. She'll be joining us at around this time tomorrow at 8:20. Here's Mary Kay yesterday on Baskin and Phelps about the timeline for Shedeur as long as Dillon Gabriel.
They're not in a huge rush to drag Dillon out of there. Think about it this way. If you have a third-round pick and you want to see what he can do and you want to try to develop him, he has started 5 games. Why would you want him to only start 5 games and then have your 5th-round pick start the next 8 games? Why would you do that? You're going to want to see your 3rd-round pick start as many games as you can possibly get away with in terms of just development and maybe trying to get to winning and whatever else before you turn it over to your other rookie. So we'll have to see how it goes. Again, now you've got Deshaun Watson that's going to be factored into this potentially as they move forward. I would say that they'll give Dillon a number of more starts. Now, he even sounded after the game like he knows there's going to come a time when he won't be starting if they don't start winning, but I do think that they want to see him for the foreseeable future.
I don't disagree. Like Mary Kay makes several valid points in the clip on Baskin and Phelps. You can find that audio on 923thefan.com. Hopefully we'll get the same thing tomorrow. But let me tell you this. If that's the case, then I can't do another one of these things. If this is the way it is, then I don't care. Put Bailey Zappi in there. Fine. If Shedeur is not ready, I can't stomach another week of this. You can't. Well, he's in there before he's ready to play. Clearly, he's in there before he was ready to play. I was wrong. I thought that they were at the end of it with Joe Flacco. The offense sucks. The players around him, I think they try. I don't think that it's the right type of players around him anymore. Some of them have gotten too old. Some of them, it just doesn't matter. That's an Andrew Berry thing now. You got rid of Joe Flacco, so it's not like you can put Joe back out there and then maybe give Dillon Gabriel a breather. So if you don't want to go directly to Shedeur, fine. Put Bailey Zappi out there and give Dillon a breather. Because this is bad. There is such a thing as, well, you're going to give him all this time. There's such a thing as, you want to talk about ruining a guy, you could ruin his experience. You could ruin his play. He's gotten worse and worse and worse every week.
100%.
Where's the bounce back?
Even though he is a finalist for the AFC Rookie of the Week.
Which is a total disaster. What happened to the other rookies? There's no other offensive rookies? Can we go back and put Cam Scatabo on there?
Well, it's for AFC. We split it, right?
Whatever. 216-474-0092. But you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I'm not denying any of that. I've heard not a peep, nothing.
I just feel like something would slip out. People had noted, Denzel Ward before the season started, I think even during training camp, was on a podcast where he was like, oh, it's different coming out of his hands. But since then, we haven't seen or heard anything to that effect. And I know he's not getting first-team reps. He was getting that package at the end of practice, while Joe Flacco was there, and then Dillon Gabriel was getting reps, and then there was a package at the end of practice.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's been given a ton of opportunity. Don't get me wrong.
You're right.
But the whole thing that sticks with me is when guys talk about how you can't lie to a locker room. Man, the locker room would revolt. After seeing Dillon Gabriel the last how many weeks, they would revolt. We would be hearing it. We would see it. Because those guys don't want to go down on a sinking ship. They want to get out good tape, too. Jerry Jeudy wants to put out good tape. Okay, David Njoku, he doesn't know how long he's going to be in Cleveland. He wants to put out good tape.
I have no answer because I don't disagree with you. I have no answer. I want to see him very, very badly, but you're not wrong on anything you're saying. I hope that I can find something to dissuade my opinion from that, but I can't do any of that because I have no evidence to prove that you're wrong.